So we know Mixer just ghosted and left their streamers at the side of the road with little recourse on where to go other than Facebook Gaming, YouTube, or Twitch. Bar none, this was a hella shady move by Microsoft, and Mixer streamers are understandably frustrated and angry over this. They built their entire communities from the ground up over the last years only to have it destroyed by one single tweet. Talk about a bad day at the office. A new streaming platform rising up from Mixer's ashes, and that is Trovo. So today let's discuss what is Trovo and does it have what it takes to do what Mixer couldn't. Before we get into it, I'd like to mention that I stream on Twitch every Thursday and Friday at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. We discuss such pressing matters on exactly how evil Microsoft is. So if you'd like to discuss that in more detail, then join me with that. Okay, let's get started. I, just like many others, very frustrated over this whole situation, so I may use some very naughty words. So if you hear any bleeps, that'd be why. Anyway, enough babbling, let's get on with it. So let's get a little context here. On June 22nd of 2020, Microsoft announced in a tweet, that's a very important thing to note here, in a tweet that on July 22nd, Mixer would be shutting its doors. That gives Mixer streamers only 1 month to sort out transitioning to other platforms. I shouldn't have to explain how slimy of a move this is on Microsoft's part. You can tell your entire community through a freaking tweet that you're shutting down without telling everyone else ahead of time first. Twitter is not an official channel here. It is a social media platform, and the fact that they chose to use it over sending out an email beforehand is downright despicable. Microsoft has a history of half-baking things. You probably can consider Windows to be the only thing they haven't truly screwed up, and even that is a stretch. It just baffles me after all this time Microsoft to realize, like, what are we doing wrong? Is it could be that we're half-assing everything? No, it must be Mixer. Oh, that gets bleeding money and we can't have that. I'm convinced that Microsoft is made up of a bunch of idiots, because you can't have as many failures as they have without realizing that you're doing something wrong. Anyway, back on topic. When Mixer picked up Shroud and Ninja, they had the potential to rival Twitch, but there was minimal marketing. Social media wasn't underutilized, few PR events were scheduled, no marketing apart from what little they did was ever made up. It was a failure all around. Based on the statement they made after the initial tweet went out in interviews, I'd side with the former. It was clear they had no intention to continue with the platform. They were just trying to turn a profit and nothing else, and because it didn't turn a profit, they just cut their losses and moved on. And Mixer streamers are taking the brunt of the force of that impact. It was clear Microsoft did not care enough to continue with the platform, and if that means sideswiping your entire community just so they can cut their losses and make something out of it, then so be it. And yet nothing in this world is constant, because another streaming platform is rising up from Mixer's ashes, and that is Trovo. I only heard of it a couple days ago at the time of recording this, and at the surface level it seems to have some life. I use that term very loosely because you could say the same thing about Mixer about a year and a half ago, and yet here we are. Anyway, even though Trovo still has some semblance of life in it now, it still does not in any way mean it's a viable platform, because a year and a half, 2 years down the road, like Mixer, they could just unplug the cord and everyone be in the same position that we are now. People move into Mixer, or Trovo in this case, the plug gets unplugged, a year and a half, 2 years down the road, and now they're at the side of the road. So take this with a good grain of salt. Speaking of which, it would make sense for Mixer streamers to jump to Trovo for the same prospect of growth that Mixer gave, and to some extent Mixer did deliver. But here's the thing, even if by some slim chance that Trovo makes it known and well established, then the people who jumped on early on would reap the rewards. But we need to be taking this with a grain of salt. Again, Mixer had the same potential Trovo does now. With all that being said though, Trovo is not with some more intricate problems. Many are pointing out that Trovo is owned by Tencent. Now, if you're not in the know, which today I don't know how you don't know, but if you're not in the know, Tencent is a Chinese corporation, a pretty large one with very close ties to the Chinese government. Now, I'm not gonna get political on you here. I just thought it'd be bear mentioning because some people want to know. But that is all I'm gonna take about it. That's all I'm gonna say about it. Take it or leave it. That's your decision. So what does Trovo have to offer that the other players don't? Well, first off, I'd like to give props to the graphic design department because they nailed it. From an aesthetic standpoint, Trovo is probably one of the best streaming platforms I have ever seen. Especially for the theming too. But if you didn't notice right away, Trovo looks a lot like Twitch. In fact, it looks exactly like Twitch, almost shot for shot. The only difference being the graphic design department's graphic design on the website for the logo and the icons and stuff like that. But layout-wise, it's exactly like Twitch. So will Twitch get mad over this? Probably, if they ever find out. I'm not sure how that's going to go down. But if you're coming from Mixer or you're coming from Twitch and you want more growth because of that, transitioning will be relatively easy because the layout's basically the same. So let's talk currencies. So analogous to bits on Twitch, you have Mana and Elixir on Trovo. Again, I love the marketing, but with these you could cheer a streamer and they would get a cut of the profits or just the cash paid for it, and perks would be given to a viewer. In comparison to Twitch, Trovo uses an identical subscription system where they are ranked based on length and perks are distributed accordingly. If there's really any difference between Trovo and Twitch, if you're a subscriber, you get a walk-on notification or some sort of thing. I'm not quite sure, I haven't streamed quite yet. That's gonna be a topic for later, trust me. But you can get this exact same kind of functionality on Twitch through plugins and extensions. So is there really a difference? Not really, but it's there. One may have noticed already that Trovo doesn't do a whole lot to distinguish itself from Twitch. The graphic design may be the thing that's most distinguishing from, but other than that, it's nothing else. So this really does kind of show how successful this platform may be. But then again, it's in beta, so that will probably change sooner than you think. But something worth noting for right now. But as noted, Elixir is the same thing as to bits on Twitch. Even the exchange rates are actually pretty much similar too, which is funny. But Mana is the same thing as channel points, just with a cooler name. IMO. Something of particular interest to me, at the very least, was spells. Now, based on my research, and I haven't gotten a good idea of how this system works, but based on my research, the spells go both ways between the streamer and the viewer. Where a viewer can send a spell to a streamer, something will happen, or a streamer can send a spell to the viewer, or vice versa, or a viewer to a viewer, streamer to, well, not really a streamer, but you get the idea here. The spells can be sent. Various things will happen. Now, I don't know exactly what will happen because, for one thing, the partner program is still not up. And I imagine it's what it's going to require. But second, the platform's not old enough for anyone to be completely 100% familiar with it. So we're going to have to wait and see how the system works. But based on what I can research from it, it looks really cool, and I can't wait to see what you can do with it. Overall, the systems that Trovo employs are good because they're proven and battle-tested, for lack of a better term. Because they've already been on Twitch, so they work. And everyone wants to try to emulate Twitch because Twitch is successful, Mixer isn't. But was that the main reason why Mixer died? No, it was just Microsoft half-assing it. It was not Mixer itself, it was the people running it. But it also means that if Trovo was designed completely differently from the ground up, making the transition would be a lot harder. So I'm glad that they made it more simple, more familiar to Twitch, so people transitioning have an easier time. And that is something I can really commend them for. Trovo looks promising because it has a healthy number of actively streaming channels on its homepage. But if Trovo becomes something that rivals everything else, well, I'd recommend jumping ship anyway. But if you're weary to pander to a giant Chinese corporation, then fine, that's your prerogative. It's your channel, your business, you run it how you like. Some people are just more concerned about growth than who runs the show. For me, however, I'm just interested in seeing how the platform grows and transforms over the next coming months. Will it be the thing that actually rivals everything else like I've been saying in this video? Or will it just become the next Mixer? Comment down below with your thoughts. I'll be experimenting with Trovo myself by dedicating a bonus stream every week on Saturday mornings. Haven't worked at the time yet, but if you want to have any updates for that, they'll also be on my Twitter. Link to that will be down below. If you don't want to join me on Trovo, why you do this to me? No, but if you don't want to join me on Trovo, that's fine. I still stream on Twitch every Thursday and Friday at Central Standard Time, 8:30 p.m. Talking about all the crap we talked about this video and then some. We also play a game, eventually. So if you can join me on that link will be down below as well. Everything, links, Discord will also be down there below too. So thank you for joining me for this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Please let Trovo be a good platform. I don't want to see another Mixer, really.